Good afternoon, everybody. Buon pomeriggio a tutti. Welcome to the June Smart Talk of the Chamber. Scheduled today with Mrs. Alessandra Pasini, CFO and Chief International and Business Development Officer of SNAM. SNAM is one of the most important Italian companies in terms of capitalization and one of the largest energy infrastructure companies in the world. And is an important member also of the Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce. Mrs. Alessandra Pasini joined SNAM in quality of CFO in 2016, and from 2019 she is in charge also for the management of the foreign subsidiaries and for the international business development of the group. Unfortunately, for an urgent occurred business trip, Mrs. Pasini will be not able to join in presence the Smart Talk today. And she sent us a video message delegating Mario Franchin, Senior Vice President Commercial Global Solution of the company, and also member of the Advisory Board of the Chamber, to join on her behalf. I'm very happy to have today the President of SNAM, and would like to extend my thanks to Alessandra and Mario. Today's Smart Talk will be moderated by Constantinos Taliotis, a partner of PWC Cyprus, in charge to the energy team, who gained a relevant experience assisting important multinational companies in the field of energy and has an important knowledge on the sector, not only in Cyprus, but in the world area. At the end, my colleague Federico Franchina, Vice President of the Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce, will take care to the conclusions. Before to leave the floor to Constantinos, thanking him for the presence, I would like to remark the importance of energy sector in the strengthening and further development of the business relations between Italy and Cyprus, and also the relevant opportunities linked to green transition and green energy, I would say green economy, offered to the Italian industry in the framework of the Cyprus Integrated National Energy and Climate Plan, and of course, of the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. In this regard, I would like to mention the important upcoming visit in Italy of the Minister of Energy of Cyprus that will take place at the end of September, with an industry delegation from Cyprus, and also the Eastern Mediterranean Conference and Exhibition that will take place in November in Cyprus, where we expect an important presence from the Italian industry. The purpose of today's event is, of course, to contribute toward in this direction. Let's start then with the video from Mrs. Pasini.
Good afternoon, and to everybody, it's a pleasure to be here with you, although virtually. And I'm sorry not to be able to take part live to the Smart Talk that the Italian-Cypriot Chamber of Commerce had organized, but unfortunately I had to travel to Rome for a meeting. It was an important event that we were, as SNAM, were keen to take part of, to bring our experience and our exposure to the Mediterranean, which is clearly going to be very relevant for Cyprus and for what Cyprus is doing in the energy space. As you know, SNAM is the biggest European energy infrastructure company, but has also started a few years back to develop a platform in the energy transition, advocating the importance of moving gradually towards the net zero long-term targets that different state members have indicated as their own objective, and in particular the EU. And in this context, Cyprus and the Med in general would be areas of interest for us, where we can bring our experience, our know-how, our competence, and we will be always interested in exploring opportunities to cooperate with other partners. I think that the energy transition is really offering to players an opportunity to evolve and to position for a long-term, very sustainable future. And in this respect, people like us that have more than 8 years of history have the opportunity to look at a very promising future and prospect. So far, our focus has been around gas and LNG, and this is a very relevant topic. But we also see with growing interest green gases, namely biomethane, which is coming from either urban feedstock or agricultural waste, and hydrogen. And clearly hydrogen is gaining a growing focus and attention from institutional stakeholders and industry players like us, because it's the element that is absolutely required and needed to achieve net zero by 2050. And the beauty of hydrogen is that it can be transported in a very efficient, from an economic standpoint, and safe manner using existing infrastructure, as long as they are tested for bringing hydrogen. And in most of the countries, we know that repurposing of existing gas infrastructure to hydrogen is something that is affordable and is going to be the key element that will allow hydrogen to be developed and distributed in scale to comply with the long-term targets. And in this respect, SNAM has been at the forefront of this hydrogen opportunity, being very careful also around technologies. And it is of last year the investment and the partnership with both ITM and Industria de Nora, because we think that helping and fostering players that has, such in the case of the Nora, decades of experience in the electrolysis space, is a way through which we can join our vision for the long term, our capacity in managing and building and operating infrastructure with what is needed to succeed with the hydrogen development. So thanks again for inviting me to this event, and apologies for not being there. And I wish you a very interesting debate at the Smart Talk. Good afternoon to everybody.
Let's start then, please, Constantinos.
Thank you, Giuseppe. So good afternoon, everybody, and let me first thank Giuseppe Marino and the Italian-Cypriot Chamber for honoring me with the position of moderator into this very interesting Smart Talk with SNAM. As Giuseppe mentioned, I'm a partner with PWC in Cyprus, and I head the local energy team. And before I warmly welcome our distinguished guest from SNAM, let me share with you a quick observation in that the last few years in Cyprus, we have observed a very large increase in the number of companies that are setting up offices in Cyprus, a lot of them in the energy space to support the various initiatives and discoveries in the Eastern Mediterranean region, some of them in Cyprus and some outside energy, but setting up their regional headquarters. So without further ado, let me warmly welcome Mario Franchin. Mario, welcome to Smart Talk. Very glad to be the moderator for the day with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, of course, to the Italian Chamber, Cyprus Chamber of Commerce, and Giuseppe.
Very good. So let us start maybe with an introduction from yourself of the values and the multinational strategy of SNAM. So SNAM is a very large Italian company by any standard. Its market capitalization is in excess of 16 billion euros. It's within a group of global elite companies. Could you introduce SNAM to us? What are the values and what are the strategies of SNAM?
Yes, sure. So consider that SNAM is a company that has more than 80 years of history, and that has been mainly, majority of this time has been very focused on building, operate, create all the Italian infrastructure. In the last 8 years, it will start also to look at outside Italy, and to have an important international expansion on this. So if I have to summarize the 3 main values described as SNAM nowadays are internationalization, for sure, diversity, and for sure gender equality. This is the 3 parameters. When we're talking about now, you describe the multinational companies, as we are now moving on this, and our strategy is to be focused more and more in our growth, our international footprint. Now we are recently also enter in Abu Dhabi with an acquisition of their infrastructure. We have entered in Greece. We have two permanent establishment, one in China and one in India. We are now looking at Israel, US, North Africa, and so on. So yes, so from what started SNAM 8 years ago, I'd say that in the last years we have done a big jump on the international side, and this is our focus.
Thank you, Mario. A truly widespread global footprint then. We're experiencing a 1 in 100 years event where we are experiencing a pandemic, which has increased the uncertainty even more in various sectors. And SNAM seems to be doing an excellent job when it comes to industrial and financial performance. I noticed that the net adjusted profit of 2020 was in the region of 1.2 billion euros. And then I've also noticed that you have a very serious technical investment commitment in the region of 7.5 billion, if I'm not mistaken. How did you do it? How are you doing it? What are the key elements of this success?
You are totally right saying that we face in the last 1.5 years a very tough moment, not just for us, but I think for all the company, all the industry. What guide us and what to make us know to have a good result for 2020, there are mainly three factors. The first one is the solidity of our core business. So we, no matter what, we deliver our projects on time. And we manage to guarantee the security of the energy in Italy and abroad. The second is our strategy on growing in the new energy transition. So I'm talking about what Alessandra Pasini mentioned before. So new acquisition with a new technology in the field of biomethane, in the field of energy efficiency, in the field of hydrogen. And the third one, the third pillar that helped us to do a good result was that always we continue to have a strong attention to costs. So all of this all of this has been possible thanks also to a great hard work that the SNAM people have done with and ESG factors that play a central role for our strategy, and will continue to play a central role in our strategy. So I think that people, SNAM, good strategy, solidity of our core business make us like a financially strong, as you said.
Very, very interesting. Thank you, Mario. So, I mean, the energy sector has been going through a lot of changes the last few decades. Tremendous changes, I would say. I mean, we have seen a major oil crisis, and we are, for a number of years now, are into a path of substantially reduced use of fossil fuels, and that's the prediction for the future. And maybe we have already entered a new era of renewables and new technologies, other technologies. What is the impact of all these changes in your industry, which is a very capital-intensive industry? I mean, there are billions and billions of euros and dollars that are invested. What is the experience of SNAM from all these changes and the impact on your industry?
So I think that is an opportunity. I look at it as an opportunity. So it's a new type of field. It's new type. Now we consider that the road now is fine. So all the industry will move from oil products to more renewable and green gases. And this will require trillions of investment. And means that for a company like us is an opportunity. So I think that not just for us, for the rest of the industry, I think that we will see more and more investment in the energy transition. There's no doubt. Of course, Europe now is leading this, but all the rest of the countries now they're coming, on the renewable and so on. So, as I said before, so I think that this is the way, and this is the place where we have to be. And this is the point is that who's gonna get first?
Okay, very interesting, very interesting. Thank you. Now, maybe a couple of questions I have for you, Mario, closer to home, closer to the region, to the East Med region. So, as you are aware, Cyprus and its neighbors, namely Israel and Egypt, have discovered in the last few years significant amounts of natural gas. Some of those discoveries are already commercialized. I'm referring to the 32 TCF of Zohr and the around 23 trillion cubic feet of gas that Israel discovered and has commercialized in Leviathan. Some other discoveries, like the ones that Cyprus has, are still to be brought to a position where they will be proven to be viable for business and for development. And one of the propositions that has been put forward in the past, at least for the East Med gas, has been LNG, the LNG solution. So getting the gas to the market through LNG solutions. And I wanted to ask you, how does SNAM view the LNG market in the near future? What do you see to be the main maybe challenges or developments, and especially when it comes to Europe, because Europe obviously is one of the markets, targeted markets for this gas, potentially?
Okay, so if I have to think about LNG, I think that LNG, it will play an important role in the decarbonization. It's true that now in the Mediterranean areas, there are new discoveries. So this kind of discoveries, they will have to be monetized. They could be monetized via pipeline, maybe physical pipeline, now connecting different region or different countries on the Mediterranean. But there is, of course, a way of the LNG, if you want to have access to Asian market, for instance. This is one way. But I think that we have to see also LNG in another way. So because when we're talking about LNG, we're always talking about a huge plant, just for export and so on. But there is a new market that is the small scale LNG, so that it will allow also the possibility to displace diesel, for instance, for mobility, or displace diesel for small local electric production, or for industry that are still using diesel maybe, or LPG in the region. And this kind of new solution, small scale LNG solution, can really open a new market and support the decarbonization. Now, which is the big challenge here? The big challenge is the cost of liquefaction. If you look at the 20 years ago, between 20 and 15 years ago, the cost of liquefaction, it was like 1/3, 1/4 of the cost of liquefaction today. So if today is around $600, $1,000, depending on the region, 20 years ago, it was around $200. And when I'm talking about $200, $240 per ton, I'm referring to something in the region. It takes, for instance, Damietta in Egypt. This is what it costs. So if you look at this and they say, okay, what is the LNG? Is manpower and this material, steel mainly. Okay? So this has been an increase of 4 times in the last 20 years? No. So the point is that the industry has to find a way to reduce the cost of liquefaction. In that case, it will be much more effective, the spread of LNG and the huge difference that there are between diesel and LNG, to fuel cars, heavy duty trucks, train, vessel, ship in the future. I think that there. We know that, and we know that is possible because we create our own technology for the liquefaction, small scale liquefaction unit, and we are much more competitive than the market. So we try exactly look at this and say, okay, but why is not possible to go back to 20 years ago, or not 20 years ago, but maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and we prove it that it's possible, and this is will enable the spread of LNG, and this is good. And then let me say also another point that is quite important of LNG and all the resources that has been discovered in these areas, that also the bunkering system. The bunkering system is something that we look at it in the region, it will something that will grow. You know, so more and more ships now they are being built using LNG engine. And if I look at the map and then see that Italy is now moving on bunkering, Greece is now moving bunkering, Spain, France already moving bunkering, no? But Cyprus, Israel, and Egypt, there are something unique in a way. First, the position, strategic position, no, because they are both now. There are three of them. They are very nearest to the Suez Canal, and the second one is that they have their own gas. Their own gas that means that can be more competitive than bunkering. So this is also one of the, I think that the key element also for the good expansion that can have also Cyprus now with their gas.
Okay, thank you for a very comprehensive answer, very educational, which actually partly covers maybe my next question, which was going to be about the how do you foresee the role of LNG in the region, in the East Med region, and maybe in particular, what role do you see for Cyprus?
Yeah, this is for sure, as I said before. So Cyprus has a great discovery, so it has to monetize the discovery. It can be monetized via physical pipeline, via access and direct access to Europe, but also can do LNG to have access to maybe at the Asian market, but also can be used, as I said before, for bunkering. I think that Cyprus has great opportunities there for bunkering. The bunkering is growing. All the countries now they are structured themselves with the bunkering and so on, and Cyprus has a great opportunity in this. So that's what I say.
Very good. We should pay attention to bunkering and a lot of attention. Okay, let's move on maybe to a couple of questions which are very specific for Cyprus. You might be aware that the Cyprus National Energy and Climate Plan to 2030 is a very optimistic plan and predicts a lot of progress for the country when it comes to its greenhouse gas emissions and the use of renewables. However, despite these very optimistic projections, it seems that the country might fall behind when it comes to the EU targets set. And you know, given the fact that it's a fact that there needs to be substantial investment for the infrastructure that will help any country achieve such targets. So what I wanted to ask you is, what is the experience of SNAM helping Italy to achieve these objectives? How did you help your own, Italy to
Absolutely. So let's consider that SNAM has 42,000 kilometers of pipeline, of which 32,000 just in Italy. Okay. This one will be built, maybe some of this pipeline has more than 50 years old. So very old pipeline, but in any case, they are working perfectly now. So what we have done for sure in extreme work on the digitalization. So now our network, our system are completely smart, what we consider smart, and we made a lot of effort, but we have done a lot of investment. If we consider that we're going to invest from 2020 to 2024 like $6.7 billion in our network, of which part of this it will go for hydrogen, but the rest is going to be So this is what I think that the main drive of fact that we are modernize now our network. We have full capability, full competencies, and also to support. And what we are doing actually is we are now supporting maybe other countries that have networks and infrastructure to modernize it, with using our technology and using our experience and lesson learned, And the one that want to enter in this now, because they start to get access to gas, of course we can support them on design since the beginning the pipeline with a new mind towards the future.
Okay, extremely experienced to be sharing lessons learned, because one can utilize the opportunities and be mindful of perhaps any mistakes that were done. Very interesting. So you have mentioned earlier new technologies and the flexibility that new technologies give to a large corporation like SNAM in dealing with the challenges of the future. And I wanted to turn our attention to a very specific set of new technologies, which is hydrogen and related related technologies, which again SNAM seems to be leading the way in this space. And then, of course, it seems that hydrogen solutions are becoming more and more relevant as we talk about the transition, the energy transition of organizations, of corporations, of whole nations, especially if somebody keeps into mind the EU Green Deal and the national plans in this space. And I wanted to ask you to explain to us SNAM's strategy when it comes to hydrogen in this framework that I have just described.
Yes. Well, absolutely. So we start, first of all, we create a dedicated business unit on hydrogen. We start to look at the hydrogen as some years ago, and then when nobody was thinking about hydrogen, to be honest. We were the one pioneer in injecting hydrogen in our network. Now there is a pasta factory in the south of Italy that can get a blended gas hydrogen with hydrogen at 10%. So when we look at the hydrogen, we look at the green gases. So we have a clear vision that we're going to be the first company, or one of the first company that's going to have carbon neutrality at the 2040. In order to do this one, part of our network, it will be used to transport hydrogen. Consider that now already 70% of our network is ready for hydrogen. And we're going to invest like a 3.4 billion now in the next 5 years in order to increase this percentage. And so one of the main focus is, of course, to be a stronger player of hydrogen, but also using acquiring technologies, and be also a technology provider. And this is why we acquired 2 companies, one in De Nora, that is was mentioned before, the Alessandra, that is leader in the electrolyzer alkaline pipe, and another one is the ITM. This is a PAN technology. For one that does not know, PAM and electrolyzer and alkaline is depending on the size. So bigger is the type of plant for production of hydrogen, you go more on alkaline. If it's smaller, maybe PAM. And of course we want to play in the whole value chain of hydrogen, and this is our target. Consider that saying this, we are also now looking at mobility for hydrogen. So trains. So we're going to invest like 150 million for future trains on hydrogen. Consider that 30% of the trains in Italy, they are not yet electrified. So and then also we're going to start with the first hydrogen station for fueling cars. So we really want to play in all the value chain, and we want to be keeping be the best and the pioneers.
very, very interesting. And of course, to a smaller scale, creating a viable transportation system is one of the challenges that Cyprus has, and it's actually included in the key targets of the country in its resilience and recovery plan. So very interesting that you're already facing these challenges in Italy and essentially addressing them. So as we're closing into the end of our conversation, Mario, and having in mind the changed and fast changing environment around us and the energy world, what are the types of investments and strategies that a firm like SNAM adopts to cater for the future, to maximize the opportunities for the future and cater for the risks that you have?
So let's start with, I'll give you a number. So it's 7.4 billion. So this is what we're going to invest in the next, between now and 2024. So on this number, 6.4, it will go to our network. Okay? So focusing on modernization, operational maintenance, replacement, and half of this, it will be in order to get our network ready for hydrogen. So we will be very focused on our core business. And then we're going to invest 0.7 billion for the energy transition. Okay? And on biomethane, so green gases, biomethane, hydrogen, mobility, and energy efficiency. So we will, and of course, one of our strategies to go with the internationalization. So we more and more we look at that possible opportunities, a deal outside Italy and outside Europe. This is our focus. So
very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mario, and thank you for a very educational and enlightening conversation as part of the Smart Talk discussions. And I believe this marks the end of our discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
You're mostly welcome.
Thank you, Mario. Please, Federico, with the conclusion.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody. It's very, I had a lot of notes. Thank you, Mario. Thank you also, Constantino. Very interesting and smart talk, as we entitled. I was thinking that if we had this kind of a discussion about new energy resources found close to home in the East Med 30 or 40 years ago, I think that we just had a discussion of a couple of seconds. Doesn't matter. So please go ahead, drill and exploit the resources. But now we just have as other problems. We have problems about the exploitation. Despite the pandemic, there was a discussion about the stranded assets. So this is a matter not only for our society, but also for corporate action. And after the pandemic, we also are now approaching the energy transition as a leverage that able and will help us to take over these horrible times that we are finally overcame. And well, as Mario and as a SNAM strategy has clearly shown, the energy transition is not a matter of one energy resource. There is the necessity of diversification. There is the necessity to approach new technology for a mix of energy resources. And as Mario also said, and Constantino has correctly highlighted, there is the problem of who will be the first that will be able to make money through the energy transition. I'm looking, for example, to the last book of Bill Gates about the cost of energy transition, and the risk that if will not be approached in the right manner, the cost will be more than the benefit in terms of jobs, in terms of economic slowdown. And also looking, for example, to the judgment of the Dutch courts against Shell about the other issue, human rights, about the reduction of emission. So I think, and it's my own conclusion, that the way forward is not very easy to approach, and that the mix of new technology, mix of a corporate right approach will be also helpful. In this context, Cyprus and the East Med region, but above all Cyprus as a member of the European Union and as a country to which Italy has a very, very good and strong relation, along with Greece and other neighbors, I think that are the first stone for a future and a long way for the future, because energy transition is not a matter of a couple of years. It requires decades. So thank you again. And I think that the cooperation and bilateral relations between our countries through also our stakeholders will be helpful than other initiatives. Thank you again.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good
Bye-bye.
afternoon. Bye-bye. Thank you.